Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Thank you for closing the doors a little. I don't want you all to feel trapped. If you do feel like maybe this isn't the workshop for you, I totally don't mind. Just if we can exit through that door, since it's being live streamed. My name is Dale Chambers. I am a visual artist, urban farmer, doula, childbirth advocate, environmentalist. Okay? Thanks. Um, I've been farming and making art my entire life since I was 3 years old. And many times, you know, most of us have a story like that, that we were great drawers or really had a good idea of sculpture or clay as a young child. And then we translate that into a work environment. For me, I've translated that into my living practice as a studio artist. So I want to start there. And I don't have slides, so y'all will get tired of looking at my face. I do have slides, but we're not about to do that. The first thing that I want to do is just get an idea of who's in the room. So if we can maybe start in the back and tell me your name. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll start on the right. I'll start over here. I'll start, because they were chatting already. They ready to talk. They ready to talk. I don't know if they're ready to talk to me. But tell me what your passion is. You don't have to tell me where you work or where you came from unless you want to. But real quick, just your name and your passion. Okay, Sherelle, your passion is yoga. I love that. Okay. Nice to meet you. Food, what was the second one? You're passionate about food, makeup, and mentorship. And tell me your name again. Kendra, nice to meet you. Okay, and tell me your name again. Sierra, and you said health, wealth, and success. I mean, I'm with you. Okay, Laura, you're passionate about medicine. Okay, Sam, you know, we have a lot in common. Yes, thank you. Yes. We ain't, it's the year of the snake, but yes, no. Nice. Nice to meet you. Wonderful. Yes. Very important. Ashe. I'm also passionate about this shirt you're wearing, and we'll talk about that later. Shell. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, no, we're not. It's natural. It's natural. I'm sorry.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen, and I am, my passion is advocacy, gender equity for women and girls. And right now, I'm very, very passionate about the issues that women face if they lose a spouse and they lose the income from pensions and social security for at least 2 or 3 months, because I just lost my husband 2 months ago, and thank God
Peace and
I
light
had
to
a
his
cushion.
spirit.
Thank God I had a cushion, but when I had checks that were in my account and then they were taken out of my account, I'm like, what do people do who cannot survive without 2 or 3 months of income? So that is my new passion.
Ashe. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bailey. I'll say right now I'm passionate about caregiving and transition.
Wonderful. That's that invisible work.
My name's Carolyn. I'm passionate about educational equity, especially in early childhood groups, and environmental equity and sustainability.
Wonderful.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm passionate about policy work, especially policies that help kids and families thrive, like affordable childcare and food.
Mm-hmm. And so y'all came together?
I mean, we did not, but
This works. This works. This works. Yes, definitely.
Hi, I'm Fletcher. I'm passionate about making the outdoors legal for all, letting youth and young adults embrace their weird, and mentorship.
Yes.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sharon, Alicia Pronoun, and I'm passionate about Black women's history. No, no shade to anybody else. That's what my passion is.
A little Edmonia Lewis, a little Audre Lorde.
Please don't get me started.
We'll get into that a little bit.
Specifically, like Black women's experience in the Midwest.
Oh, wonderful.
Hi everyone, I am Sarah Jameson and I am passionate about wellness, health and wellness, and being a guide on the side, helping others find joy and happiness.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Hi everyone, my name is Lacey, and I am passionate about housing, community, and bodies of water make me happy.
Wonderful. So glad to see. I see where you're coming from. And I love North Newstead Neighborhood Association. Let me just say they have been instrumental in this. So,
Look at that.
yep. Last but not least.
My name is Jalen Carroll. That's a tough question. Passionate about. I'm just here from John Lewis. I'm passionate about causing good trouble.
Oh, wonderful. I love a creative disruptor. And so, you all came to this workshop. It is titled Beautiful, Healthy, Resilient, Environmental Justice and Ecological Stewardship in Redlined Areas. I'm an artist, and, you know, they're really grounding me with this mic right now, because I would have tap danced all through these and got to know y'all a little bit more intimately if I didn't have to be grounded with this mic right here. I could move around, but you know. I want to start by saying that I've lived in North St. Louis for almost 7 years. I live in the Greaterville neighborhood specifically, historic Black community. One of the most powerful things to me about our history in the area is that Geronimo, the Native American warrior freedom fighter, gave, do you all, what's his name, Bintu from the Congo, who was at the St. Louis World's Fair and from the Congo, he gave him an arrowhead in Fairground Park that he kept with him even when he was in the zoo. Do you all know what story I'm speaking of? Okay, good. Even when he got moved to the Brooklyn Zoo, I think it was maybe the Brooklyn Zoo he was moved to, he kept that arrowhead from Geronimo Pratt that they both got in St. Louis. both being from two different places in resistance and liberation work, being bound together in that way is very symbolic of some of the work that we've had to do in North St. Louis as it relates to liberation work. And for me to live just a few blocks away from that place, it keeps me invigorated. You know, so I gave you the long titles and some of the certifications, but I'm a liberationist, you know, a little bit different than an abolitionist, you know, and I just want to start with that. When I came into North St. Louis, this time, it was as a stakeholding landowner, which is a lot different than coming because this is where my mother grew up, or my grandmother passed, or my auntie passed. You know, I live 6 blocks from where it is my mother grew up. I live 8 blocks from where my great grandmother used to live, and I live across the park from where my auntie used to live. So it's very intimate work for me. I start with myself in I'm sure y'all might be here for the research parts. So I'm setting the ethnographic kind of playing field in which I'm operating out of before I get to the researchy stuff. It's very important for me to place myself at the center of whatever information I'm trying to gather so that I know that I'm not coming from an extractive place. My needs are the same needs of the people around me and who I engage with, and I'm not confused by that. So that's been my strongest gift, is that I'm a human being with others, and we can learn from each other. And so that doesn't look like normal anthropology. I took anthropology courses in undergrad. Claude Levi-Strauss didn't do it that way, you know. Maybe Zora, maybe a little Zora in there. But to say that means that when I thought about what beautiful, healthy, resilient is, I really wanted to figure it out with community. So the project did not have a title at first. How can I name? It's like, I can't, you know, I have children. We come up with the names before we even seen the child. We have names from as when we're children, when we're playing with our doll houses, and then we bring that into our interactions, engaging with one another. So in a community engagement sense, I didn't want to do that because I could have named it purple and everyone hated the color purple. So that forced me to have a very long title at first. The original, and that's what's still on the website. You can find out about this project that I did at North STL Resilience .today. Very intentional about the naming of things in general, because I believe public affirmation is the only way to go. We live in a society where charity mindset and the cultural mining of data really personally affects the folks that we get the information from, and a lot of times it's presented as a deficit and not an asset. And we know what assets are. Assets are anything that have value and have the potential to grow. So why are we using this deficit language when we are trying to support communities, neighborhoods, and individuals? Makes no sense to me. But if we can make a movement of affirming language as we begin to get grant funding or do reporting or interacting with the community, I think that's a first step, the affirmative language in representation of others and yourself. So because I didn't want to title it, I'm going to tell y'all it's going to be long. Good thing, again, that I have the mic so that I'm grounded. It was called North St. Louis Nutritional Resilience, Cultural and Preventative Healthcare Inquiry. So long. And in the inquiry, I did a few things. I created an online survey that was way longer than the title. There's 70 questions in this survey. It's also online. There is no gift, unfortunately, because during the pandemic, I didn't have a budget. So I was really leaning on people to care and also doing a lot of time resource share with folks to get the survey complete. And I also door knocked. I had a buddy with me that we would knock on doors just to talk. And then we would ask them the questions from the survey and record it. Okay, door knocking is one of the oldest organizing technologies, and I believe it will supersede and just really be an anchor in whatever is to come, especially as we move deeper into online accessibility and the lack thereof. It's a technological divide in our community. And when I say our community, I mean folks who are in the movement and the neighbors that are supported by movement workers. And tell me if you're getting too bored, if you need a break. You know I do Touch for Health kinesiology. We will be doing a little song and dance at the end, just to give you a heads up now. And I'm just going to read out to you what my focus was with this. Okay, so we're learning how to best affirm the neighbors of North St. Louis through beautification, preventative health care, and cultural storytelling. Food, health, and a positive mind state has kept generations strong. So usually when you hear about North St. Louis, what y'all want to talk about? The vacancies, the crime, what? The great exodus that's been going on, the poor management. Those are the things that you hear if you put it in Google. But I live there every day, and that's not what I'm seeing, and that's not who I am, and that's what I don't know about. Who made up that story? We don't know. So at the beginning of the survey, I'm affirming what I see, not what I've heard. I'm not going to use other data. I know that's not necessarily what people would say is the academic way, but I'm not going to use other data to affirm this inquiry, to confirm this inquiry. I'm going to actually see from my own perspective. So it says through working with Healthy Solutions, we're coming up with the following: promoting urban ag and gardens, advocating for clean air, soil, water, and nature, beautification as crime prevention, public affirmation to support mental health, and oral tradition as preventative health care strategy. Okay, so I think we all got some of these things in common in the room. Okay. And so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back up the list to talk a little bit more. Oral tradition as preventative health care strategy. I come from a family where now that my elders are to their age where they're really dependent on the medical field, they would be aghast for me not to be doing castor oil, cat liver oil. Those traditions that we brought with us, you know, go sit out in the sun and put your feet in the dirt. You'll feel fine later. Those things are cross-cultural. You don't have to have medical care access, and everybody got a story, okay? So starting there, before I see the doctor, I got to make sure I go outside with no shoes on, look up in the sun, pray to the Lord, oh, God mighty, please don't kill me today, and then give me some castor oil, sit there, meditate, take a nap, make sure I drink some water, and then figure out what the next steps are. Slow the whole process down, you know? I think that's very important because cross-culturally, a lot of us are saying the same things. The other thing is that public affirmation part. For me, my special interest about the public affirmation is that it's a natural mental health support. No one wants to go into their community that may or may not have a demo building and it say, I'm so tired of these vacant buildings. Nobody wants to see that. No one wants to read that sign. You're coming home from work. You're already tired. It might trigger you, right? You already see the buildings every day. But if all of our campaigns had positive imaging and positive narrative, then there's no way we don't already win. Do you all feel me about this? Okay. And then how you gauge that impact is up to you based on what you and your director are talking about or whatever your project is. Now, the advocacy piece. I'm a natural advocate. I'm a chatty Cathy. In the presentation recently, I called myself Madam DC Talker. I was in a room where no one knew who Madam C.J. Walker was, so I just had to giggle to myself. However, this advocacy piece was a game changer for me in cultural awareness. As an environmentalist, there's things that I'm aware of that my neighbors may not be aware of. For instance, I'll give you a story. We had a building, we had a block and a half get demoed right before Christmas during the pandemic. So a person like me, y'all can imagine I was hot. You know, there was no notice, no email, no door sign, nothing. And the part that made it worse is they didn't use water. See, I know my rights. So I know anytime I see a building and that's being demoed and they're not spraying water, somebody need to get paid, and it ain't them. Okay? No, I didn't like litigate or anything. As we know in the city of St. Louis that they're using third-party contractors, and it gets sticky. Okay, it gets very sticky on who's going to claim accountability on that one. Okay, something to fight about if we have the time. But my neighbor next door to me thought she was having asthma attacks. So do we know why that is? It's clearly a sign of the dust. So I have to not assume with all these trainings and conferences that I've been into that my neighbors are for certain their own medical awareness or their own environmental awareness. And that gets into also, that's an air example, the soil. There's a myth that everyone says that you don't want to plant food in North St. Louis because the soil has lead in it. Now, let me tell you, first of all, I done got soil tests on all my properties. They come out pretty, okay? I'm always like, oh, there's nothing for me to do. But that's against the common myth. Do you see that? If I didn't take the soil, I use TSIP for anyone who's wondering, the Soil Inventory Project. That's who I use for soil testing. They're not in St. Louis. You just mail your stuff off to them. But I got my soil test. Some of my neighbors didn't know to ever get a soil test. And some neighbors told me, of course, I don't know why you paid money to find that out, Dale. You know, it was a mixed bag. But just to level set, I have to demythify that belief system. One of the other wonderful things that I realized is that I'm the only one who was silly enough to put my vegetable garden in my front yard. Everyone else in my neighborhood had it in their backyard. So I'm not coming into a community doing nothing new and leading that way. I'm not the with my degrees, with my certifications, with my conferences, the training, whatever y'all might mine and find out about me on social media or Google, that don't mean nothing on the block. I am not the expert, okay? And folks have been doing it way longer than me, and I need to honor that. That is a part of the advocacy. Me honoring my neighbors, me, you know, truly as human beings. And then the one that I can't wait to talk to y'all about, because I mean, I'm pretty much promoting urban ag through this, if you can't already tell. The other thing that I just want to say is this beautification as crime prevention. Do you all see how I got there? Me personally, I like to plant edible fruit trees and the likes. And so that just kind of clears it all up. But right now I'm working with two gentlemen that I used to teach drama to. And the other day I had them paint my fence and I said, do y'all know how to paint? And one of them looked at me and said, Mama Dale, stop playing with us. You taught us how to paint. It was the biggest trophy I could ever get because I'm feeding into a skill set that I've already instilled with them, and now I get the direct benefit of that. Not to say that we're supposed to be out here surveying our community for direct benefits. However, it was a full circle moment, right? And it gave me more comfort in the work that is being done. And so this beautification as crime prevention, most of us already know if we have employed people, if we have folks who are economically safe, I'll say that, then there's less of the opportunity to do petty crimes. So there's an option online to take the survey. But some of the things that came from the survey is a suggested foods resource guide. I compiled all of the foods that came up. I compiled all the, my lip chap was on the ground. Someone told me to get my lips together. And so I compiled all the healthy foods that the neighborhood identified as healthy. So there's everything from apples to asparagus and the likes. From there, I separated what is native foods and what is grown in our region and what are things that we have to get at the store. That's for the out-facing public. We're the experts as a group. Y'all trying to figure out how we didn't survive 50% vacancy. Let me tell you, we cook greens on Sunday. Okay. Hello. Especially the mustards. The mustards kind of like it. They already know. Okay. I don't have to do much to the mustards, and things of that nature, right? So the expertise is not coming from predetermined data. It's coming from real lived life experiences. Another thing is that I recorded some of the folks talking about their versions of what healthy means to them. And how I got the name of the survey, which was the last thing that I did, is that I had questions about where people's health status were now. Are you a person who's living with diabetes? Have you had a stroke? Okay, I did ask those questions, those standard questions no one really wants to answer. But then I asked other questions. Do you see yourself as beautiful? Are you healthy? Are you resilient? And what does that mean? Okay. 87% of my neighbors who took the survey, and it was over 50 people that completed all 70 questions and a myriad of folks who dropped off. We knew this. 87% said that they were beautiful, healthy, resilient, and those were the highest numbers of the survey, and so that's how I titled it. So how y'all feel so far? Is there anything that I'm saying that you can apply into whatever your work profession or practice is? Very good. Okay. Okay, let me get real with you. I'm glad you asked. Now, I know there's some people in the room that I have collaborated with for years. And I am not a person who promotes institutions. I promote face-to-face, direct eye contact, and smiles. Okay? So, well, I'm going to work my way from me and work all the way up to answering your question. So when I walk out of the door, the first people that I collaborate is with the person next door to me. There are folks who used to live in the house across the street from me that invited me into the neighborhood outside of my family. And remember, I have an ancestral relationship to that area. And then from there, I tell people what I'm up to. And then whoever naturally engages in an organic way, those are the folks I collaborate with. So the Ville, that's Thomasina Clark. I love her. I consider her a mentor of mine. And I've attempted to support them in ways, laborious ways, hot sun weeding and things. But also it is for the Ville I work with as a community liaison member. But my strongest institutional collaborator in the area has been two organizations, Acres, Agriculture, I don't know what ACRE stands for. Tasha Phoenix, hello. Tasha Phoenix and North Newstead Neighborhood Association. And why do I say that? Because they listen to me and they respect my process. Okay, so you'll see me in lots of stuff on their websites, you see, but that is not the same as having a group of folks that you can trust your ideas with. Does that make sense to you? So let's say, for instance, Constance moves from North Neighborhood Association and makes up the Ville Oogity Boogity. I'm going to follow Constance, If Tasha gets out of farming and says, I'm going to strictly only organize around food hunger rights, I'm going to follow Tasha because that's who I've built a trusting relationship with that I feel honored in, and that supersedes any institutional mission. We live in St. Louis. We have so many nonprofits competing against one another. And there's so many, when I look at their 990s that are making so much money, and that is not what is fueling my community. Okay? I'm in my block unit. The North St. Louis is strong with the Federation of Block Units, and I'm the block unit historian. I'm the youngest one in the bunch, and I want to listen to the elders on my block. So that's how I organize. It's not popular. I am a trained organizer. I went through Ella Baker Institute. I went through People's Institute for Survivors and Beyond. I went through Jobs with Justice, and I could just keep going about that. But I need to know the room. I do those institutional things to understand the room and the playing field. I trust my instinct, and I trust my neighbors directly, and the folks that I trust this room. Do you see what I'm saying about that? Because there's going to be activities that we do today, and I'm going to trust what y'all tell me. That's why I didn't ask y'all where y'all came from. I want to know you. You're going to come and have an impression upon this workshop that has nothing to do with who you clock into, and that matters the most to me. Does that make sense to you? So if you name them, they know me. You feel me? unless those 990s is like $1 million or up, then I'm kind of like hissing when I walk by. But other than that, we good. The resource guide. Oh, this is another thing that I found out. 64% of the people in the survey already had a garden. I ain't doing nothing new. You hear me? And I had to have somebody help me with my collars this year. So I might as well just fold into the fact that no matter what the degree or institutional liking is, that my neighbors know best. That's it's 2:30 already.
How
Yeah.
big was your area for the people who took the survey?
I did JVL, I did Fairground, I did the Ville, and I did Greaterville. Fletcher, you've been to my site, so you think from O'Fallon to Fairground, from Fairground to St. Louis Avenue, and then to Jefferson. St. Louis Place, let's add St. Louis Place to the map. Yep, so that was my little mapping area. But because even those boundaries, the neighbors ain't make them boundaries. I have to walk, as some of you might know, I have to walk from one neighborhood to another ward, and I'm only going a half a block. Okay? I know. I'm 3 doors away. Catch my drift? Once I cross over to Vanderveer, it's a different culture too, though. And because how we've identified ourselves as well. It's 2:35. I could take maybe like 5 minutes of questions, and then we'll get into some other stuff. Anybody got questions? Yes. Anything else?
I want to get back to trust and community building. So, I know it's a silly question, but did you use your grandma and your great grandma's name, or did you have to or you did it independently?
First of all, I'm gonna critique my family, even though this is live stream. See, I'm the only one that still live over there. They in the county, they in Memphis, they all over. Okay. So no, I'm gonna use Dale Chambers' name. But really, most folks are meeting me as a human being before they Google me after the fact. Now there's a neighbor that started putting like the newspaper articles on my front porch. Once he realized I was the girl that was in the newspaper, but I'd see him every day. You see what I'm saying? He parked his car like right in front of my studio. I kind of be fussing sometimes. He done seen me. He done seen all the Dales. He done seen 5 a.m. Dale with her head wrap on, middle of the night Dale trying to come in, sneak in the house, Mama Dale, Mommy. He done seen it all. But he didn't know that I was the same person that was impressed. And so when he would see it, that's his little way of saying, keep going, I see you, yada, yada. So, no, I come as me. I come, even though I did this survey, I didn't know, I already had a front yard garden, and I've been farming since I was 3 years old. So if you track my public records everywhere I live, there's going to be food everywhere that you can find that I've been. A banana tree, an apple tree, something. Okay, so with that being the case, before I wanted to expand that, which I feel is already a part of my practice, I needed to get a kind of, I hate to use that term, community buy-in. I don't like that term, but I need for us to be on accord. So I just knocked on the door saying hi. See, I give away stuff. I hate to say it. I give away wellness supply. I give away art. I give away a lot of just different stuff. I always have stuff. Folks know me for having stuff. You know? So I do have a token of appreciation. It just might not be cash dollar. And then also I'm out there. So most of the people that I had to survey, they had already seen me marching around my little situation. They probably was curious but didn't engage, things like that. So the door knocking kind of solidified some of the curiosity, if that gives you sense. And it makes, and I know some people have a fear of door knocking, and because I did not, now I'll go by myself. But at that time, I had not been in my neighborhood living but maybe like 2 years. So I had a friend come with me, an organizing friend, you know, so that we weren't doing it alone. But it's changed my life. My neighborhood has changed. Being over there for that long, I had a studio in St. Louis Place, and then I lived in New Orleans for 3 years. So the area of living in St. Louis Place was very affirming to my early emerging career. And I had not felt so appreciated in the ways that I have been in any sector of the industry that I have performed in, more so than St. Louis Place and the Ville. Okay? So, yeah, I mean, just having the conversations, even when you don't want nothing, you know, it matters. Because you never know, like I said, I had to have somebody help me with my collars. That's 5 years after the fact. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, now, it was like 52% of the people that took the survey said that they thought the neighborhood was beautiful as is. And it was important for me to make sure that was on the website because I'm sure, it is definitely preservation. Before you come over here putting the Qdobas up. No, we like that beautiful red brick, okay? You know, it might not look like, Tower Grove, but I remember when Tower Grove looked like us. So, here we go. I've gotten some funding since, but I didn't lead in as this being a project that I wanted to make fundable. I leaned into, I have some questions I need to get answered before the money come. Because I'm an artist, we know what happens. I attract people with nonprofits. And I wanted to be a responsible steward of whatever affiliations or associations that comes with that industry. Okay, so any more questions? No? Okay, we got about 30 minutes. I brought books. I'm about to go through a whole book list because I need y'all to have this. First of all, Acres. Okay, let me get Acres' name right. Agriculture for Community Restoration, Economic Justice, and Sustainability. That's the long form name, okay? But they created these guides to Black farming in North St. Louis. I was in volume 2, but I think there's 4 other farms that have been published thus far, and I believe that she's going to keep going with these. If you live in North St. Louis, they're free. And if you don't live in North St. Louis, you can give a donation on their website. But I'm not in charge of this. I'm just going to pass the books around. Y'all can meander with the books. Yeah, come on, come through. Acres social media, just let her know that I was in Dale's workshop, and she said if you live in North St. Louis, we get the zine for free. Because she'll be like, who are you? Who are you? You gonna use this for a grant? And just let her know I'm a resident and I want that. I try to be resident-led in everything that I do. I'm just gonna keep on repeating that to you because how it's going right now, especially after the tornado, it's only going to get larger. I do participate in the city planning meetings. Whether I'm being heard or not, is very subjective. But just with me being there, I think is very important as a resident, despite whatever y'all might see on Google. I say that because this stuff is going to come up, and that's not leading to who I am and how I operate in space. I wanted to let you all know, this is going to be a minute. This is a whole book class. I'm about to pass all this around. Most black folks got Native American ancestry, especially they from the South, and we're very much disconnected and unclaimed about that. And so to bridge those gaps, my farm is a cultural heritage site for folks of black and Indian ancestry. So I have a special interest in okra and corn, of course, but more than that, you know, and just really getting those conversations and those identities out and talking about them in safe space. Right now we have Chickasaw language class in one of the sites. The information that I took from, I'm just going to pass these and then y'all can give them to me at the end. The information for me in my practice, right, because this is a reciprocal thing, I let out the public components. The public components of what I gave out were yard signs, and I brought some for y'all if y'all want some that say beautiful, healthy, resilient. And then the resource guide, and then I did some public workshops. For me and my practice, I used the information from the survey to expand my farm practice. And when I started the survey, my home was a homestead, a USDA homestead. But since then, I've purchased a variety of lots in my little area and turned them into food forests. And that's how I know Fletcher. And some of the people have seen this along the journey through social media. It's called Coahoma Orchards Community Research Institute. Okay? Because I want to get my neighbors to be culturally getting the information or the stories in a way to preserve their own households and their own family legacies. I'm very inspired by George Washington Carver. I don't have any association to the farm named after him that's here. Well, you know, I know them. They're right around the corner, but we're not in affiliate, like, public, you know, like, we're not the same farm. However, the research institute that was set up on his behalf talks about housing rights, talks about air and pollution, and everything about environmentalism that will also affect agriculture and community. So I've modeled some of my practices and my processes after George Washington Carver Research Institute. Okay, I'm gonna put this on this row so y'all can pass it down. Yep. That book, hey, that book gotta come home with mama. That book is hard. That book is a hard book to find, keep, and it is valued pricey. I got it on a deal, but it's valued high because they know it's out of print. Now this I brought because it's Race Forward. And I have a book, I have an extensive book collection because I'm a nerd. This is Enough is Enough. The Hellraiser's Guide to Community Activism. This is a throwback, so I don't think that new organizers know about. Have y'all ever heard of this? Okay, I'm gonna give it to the middle section just for y'all to, you can write it down, look it up. I use Library Thing to log my books. Have y'all heard of Library Thing? It's a book archive that's online that you can, and it'll have your, just like when you go to Audible and it has the book cover, all the book details and everything, but it could be your personal collection or your wish list. So just, you know, I don't get paid by them, but I'm telling y'all, I like Library Thing. And I also like something called iTree Tools. iTree Tools is an app or website that can tell you how much pollution a tree is mitigating in front of you, whether you planted it or not. So you can go up to that big, beautiful oak tree and say, well, how much money have we saved in environmental issue by having this tree here? It'll give you your age of the tree, the type of tree, but then it gets into how much, what's it called? The particulate matter that it's cleaned up and things of that nature. itreetools.org. and I use library thing to log and track my extensive book collection. Now this is more trending. See, I didn't bring emergent strategies on purpose, okay? Because it's very trending. I tried to find things that would be of use to you all. So this one's called Food Rebels, Guerrilla Gardeners, and Smart Cooking Mamas, okay? I'm gonna bring this down here. I'm a part of something called North St. Louis Mindfulness Project. It is with Civic Arts Development Corporation, and we have an online mindfulness, like a little guide for folks. You can use it with whoever you work with, and it's a little kind of hip hop sound art for meditation. I usually use it with groups because everyone doesn't like to be mindful. But what I found is even if a person doesn't meditate, having that mindfulness component before I start community engagement, it kind of, you already know, you shaking your head. The answers are going to be more affirmative after we do some mindfulness, okay? And so this is a resource for folks if they want to get the information for it. I host North St. Louis Resilience.today on my larger website, and I host North St. Louis Mindfulness Project on my website as an extension of my art practice, but those are all collaborations that I just led, just to give you a heads up. Old school, Jerry Baker. I don't know if anybody, anybody know Jerry Baker. Okay, so I'll just pass this by. Flip through it too, because I'm gonna spend about maybe 5 to 10 more minutes going through all this. So don't feel like you just have to look at the title and pass it along. You can like flip through it. I put it as a part of my scheduling for this. Now, every person that already farm know that they got a problem with natural pest and disease control. And I'm like, so when thinking about the book collection, I was like, let me put something in here about this pest, because all I'm gonna tell you to do is weed. That's about all do you have a suggestion? Right, everything is some soap and water. What we gonna do? Some dacamatis earth. That's other than that, you gotta get down on your hands and knees and get that grass up. This is now I was kind of tongue-in-cheek when I brought this to you all. The reason why I brought it is because this person who started Whole Foods wanted to tell his autobiographical journey of how he came to that. Similarly, what I'm doing in this workshop. But see, his says adventures in love, life, and capitalism. It might as well have this, like, mark that out and put liberation. However, I thought that you all would maybe benefit from just knowing of the book, just getting the idea of how personal narrative is important when you're mining for information. And when I say mining for information, like I keep telling you, you all are more of the experts than even the books that I'm giving you. And just how do you want to add the cultural narrative of you and the people you represent, if that makes any sense. Of course, like a natural woman, the Black Woman's Guide to to Alternative Healing and Disease Prevention. I'll put this to the back for you all to pass it through. Because I want y'all to get the resource. She can have the whole stack if she wants. Leave her alone. I'm teasing. I'm just teasing. And see, some of these y'all gonna find my bookmarks and things. I think I see some seeds in this. Let me get the seeds out. Somebody can have them if they want them. They love the seeds. Just leave the bookmarks if you find them. Cultural diversity in health and wellness. I'll bring that to the middle group so y'all can have something to pass down. And then backyard problem solver. This is another one that's going to have a little bit of everything about the farming and gardening. I'll put this in the back. I'm going to pause for just a moment and stop talking. I know I've talked a lot. I'll give y'all 2 minutes. Then I'll start talking some more. Did y'all put this at my desk or did I just have it? Mm-hmm. I'm going to pass it to the back and then you give it to the next row in front of you, okay? There's 1 and 2. Really? Just keep fertilizing it. You'll be fine. Well, see, but vegetables are just as smart as we are. They don't want lead. It had to be like a straight carrot in the middle of a lead pile for it to really be that detrimental. And that's the other part when we talk about gentrification of neighborhoods. We don't talk about gentrification of information. Okay? So just because it looks ugly don't mean it's unhealthy, you know? And so that's something to think about because like most of your, unless it's a direct root vegetable, you're just fine. You're saying yes. See, I got another expert. hmm You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, as long as there's water on them, you'll be all right. Information. I know, right? I know, right? I felt like a little fourth grade girl when I got this one. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad, my bad. The second row, give it to the third row to the front. 254. We good, we good. I know, I can stay with y'all all day. I need to just run my own conference or something.
That was my goal. I haven't here run a conference in 5 years.
Okay. We could do it together. I've done it before. It's a lot of work. I did a biennial conference called The Convergence. And so the first year we brought Louisa Tesh, and in the second year I scaled up and worked with other organizations, and we brought in Jessica Gordon Nemhart. So it was before Dia, so 8 years ago. See, that I'm still recovering. Dia's my 8-year-old, in case y'all want to know. And then I also brought y'all pictures, so you can kind of see. So this is my front yard garden with my collage in front of it. Okay. So the art is arting inside of the art. And then this is one of the sites with my sketchbook of what I want it to be in front of it. So I'll pass that. I'll start in the back this time. Let me stop playing with y'all. This is a map of some of my locations. I do say some because I'm up to 5. I've kind of run out of space, as you know plants will do. See, y'all are loaded on this. Let me see. I'll send this. We'll start in the middle of this. Plant diversity and human diversity is very much related. And then here's another one. Now, this is the sidewalk that North Newstead helped me get weeded. I'm being silly because you all have the lawn care program and someone's helping cut the grass. And so I wanted to take a picture of the sidewalk. My block unit determined that we were going to call it Coahoma Orchards Nature Walk because I was apologizing about the mess. And because I see people running from bees trying to get to the corner store. And so I brought it up at the block unit meeting, block unit 305. And I'm repping my people hard, okay? They said it's live stream. I love y'all. And so they were like, no, we want it. And that was outside of what it was that I thought was going on. I thought I was being an eyesore, and they actually enjoyed it. So then we're calling it the Coahoma Orchards Nature Walk now. I'm going to get more signage for that part. But there's edible fruit trees, there's coreopsis, there's peppermint, sage, chicory. A lot of times folks have a hard time identifying native plants from, I'm going to just, if you could pass it down, from what we would consider regular floral plants to be or medicinal plants to be. But most of the times they're the same. So you can boil the chicory root. I've seen some of the local florists sell the coreopsis for $2 a stem. But those are the same things that, yes, there's no need to pay. You just got to know, you know. And see, these are bigger maps. Also, I started, this is all after the survey. Do you all understand? I had my homestead that was my little world. And before it is, I decided to leave out of my little world and go more public. I checked in with the folks around me using the survey, and I affirmed them by growing the things that I already know they like. Okay? And then I just keep going. From this, another thing that I did is North St. Louis Seed Library. And now we've been collecting and saving our cultural heritage seeds because I didn't know so many people farmed in their backyards until the survey. Now I can share cultural heritage seeds. Without Jay's market, some of us, yes. Nah, right now I'm riding around with the Smithsonian National Museum of African American Arts, History, and Culture telling folks. So I don't think so. I ain't ran into nobody that's doing it like this yet. But I want y'all to. I mean, everybody has a role to play in their own authentic way. Everyone has a role to play in their own authentic way. Okay? So there's people who got seed libraries. There's people who've done surveys, Robert Woods Johnson. There's people who've done bits and pieces. But when I'm out in the world, I got to say, what part of this world will work for what I'm trying to accomplish? And how do I feel doing it? And then I move through the world like that. And then I throw art on top of it so don't nobody ask me any questions. And I'm very silly, but I'm very serious about my responses. And that's why I love your questions, because it forces me to get into the root of what I'm really doing. I want to tell y'all, North St. Louis Seed Library has all kind of seeds. I got the Powatomi pea from a tribal elder named Deborah Ecological. I've got, of course, okra and corn. No, don't apologize ever. There's so much. I grow aronia berry. I grow black cherries. I grow persimmons. I got pawpaws this year. Yay! Yay! I'm a year early on the pawpaws. I do think it's the good energy. Lettuce. I get donations. I give away seeds. And that's kind of how we're rolling. And so I give it out with wellness supply and food, like a CSA, to my neighbors direct. Once a week, I pick which crop I have an abundance of, and I put it on my block unit thread. And my neighbors are able to get. See, the thing about growing food is if it's perennial, you gotta harvest the food whether you want to or not, because it's gonna be an issue if you don't. So even if you don't want to be a full-time agricultural steward, you wanna harvest. You wanna share. You know, it's a part of natural what happens. But for those of us who are farmers in the room, North St. Louis Seed Library is a part of Ujamaa Seed Cooperative, which is a black-owned national seed company, and we sell our seeds wholesale. You don't have to be black. We're black-led. 60% of the folks are black, diasporic black, so they might. Wonderful. Well, you could potentially, if you grow food, consider joining the seed hub that I've started with them, because we do Ira Wallace Seed School, which teaches people how to grow produce from seed to seed. Now, y'all know I only teach the ethics and art part, okay? Because I can't keep up with a farm journal if you paid me, clearly. But it's something that's going on right now. There's never been a seed hub in St. Louis. And so potentially I've started the first one. And it's a direct pathway to sell your seeds. So if you haven't, if you already know what you're doing about growing to seed and you're not going to cross-pollinate, you can just jump right on in, or you could do Ira Wallace Seed School, which you'll see me again. This is the catalog. This is the quarterly. Well, I want y'all to do something, and I got something for y'all to do before you leave, and I will talk and not get what I want from you. So I want you to break up in a group, pick some groups, and I need. She ain't the leader. She's not the group leader. She is the group leader. Right. She is the intellectual club. She's the. This. Don't trust this front row because they gon' Yes. Pick some groups. I need to know. On the front. What did you just say? What did I heard? I see your eyebrows. What did you just say? Do you need anything from me? Yeah. Yeah, I know. Make sure y'all, before you put it up here, turn to your neighbor and say you want some books or what, okay? In the groups, we're passing out these white cards. I want the white cards back. Put your name on the group, or you can do a fake name. My fake name is Veronica. I just need you all to tell me, do you feel beautiful, healthy, resilient? And what are your favorite healthy foods? One side, beautiful, healthy, resilient. Back side, what are your healthy foods? Okay? That's for me, because I just gave y'all all yours on one card. Yep. I'm hoping everybody say yes, but they might not. Yeah. They might say, I feel beautiful but not healthy, or I feel resilient but I need to go to the doctor, or whatever. Whatever your favorite healthy food is, because my favorite healthy food ain't what I like to eat. Like Brussels sprouts really give me life, and I know they're very good for me, but they're not my favorite. Beets too. Like, I don't like beets, but I have low iron, So is everyone clear about what's happening on the cards and while you're talking to your friends?
Okay, so your favorite foods on one side and what's the other thing?
Do you feel beautiful, healthy, resilient? Is your group, your back is face to what? Give them an extra card. There we go. Problem solved. 5 minutes. Thank you. Where'd you get the water from?
From the water dispensers.
Thank you.
There's a table with coffee and water.
limited time of what we have left. We have down to 5 minutes. I know. I'm going to start with the front, the folks who are very studious. Tell me a couple of your favorite healthy foods.
Mixed greens specifically.
Okay, are you a mustard, collard, turnip kind of lady?
Hello.
Ah!
Hello.
Ah! You got people from Mississippi and Alabama, okay?
Quickly, I didn't even know that greens could not be mixed. When I was
What?
a kid, I was like, wait, you can make greens by themselves? You can make collards by themselves? So I didn't even know.
You should have seen me in permaculture class when they tried to tell me Swiss chard was a green.
Did you just see my face? I'm in the
Swiss chard is greens? Okay.
so, mixed greens, cauliflower, green beans, cabbage.
Wonderful. What y'all got? What kind of berries? Okay, okay. Yes. Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, you all do know that wild yams has been a major research component for medical research, and that wild yams will balance your hormones, male or female, take out inflammation in your body, and an array of other things. Get into it. Wild yams. There's a whole bunch of research about this. I felt very affirmed when medical associations start saying that the vegetables is what's doing it. It concerns me, but also affirms me. I'm going to jump to the back real quick. What'd you put for your healthy foods? Y'all fancy with the yellow cucumbers. Thank you. Yes. What about y'all? What did y'all put? Yeah. Nice. That is very well varied. Thank you. What y'all get for healthy foods? Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And what about your group? Perfect. Is this group? Chocolate cherry tomatoes.
During the pandemic, I kind of bought, whatever plants were in the plant store to start a garden. That shut down, and I would actually get plants. And I ended up buying these like heirloom chocolate cherry tomatoes, and I got to receive some of them that year, and have since continued to use those seeds and capture more seeds year after year, and I've since become. I grew like 40 tomato plants because I thought half the seeds were gonna die, but no, all of them grew this year. So then I had to give away 30 tomato plants.
That's great.
So now everybody in my circle has these chocolate cherry tomatoes. And
What a success.
and so it's cool that it's been 5 years and now it's going to come into my community.
I'm going to try it. You've extended beyond your community, because even if I don't get the plant stars from you, I got so much chocolate mint, and I made a mistake and mixed my Paul Robeson seeds with my cherry tomato seeds. So now I have a miniature Paul Robeson cherry tomato going on. So now I'm like, oh, I got to add this to the variety. What if it's a chocolate Paul Robeson cherry tomato? I see. Okay, what other groups did we miss? Yes. Wait, pause. They weren't finished with their list. When we get farmers in the small groups, this happens. What is it you say? Yard salad. Get a little plantain, mix it with some dandelion. You good. Stir fry it on up. Okay. I know we're going deep. People are making faces, Fletcher. They don't want that. What is on your list?
Our group has spinach, apples, mushrooms, tomatoes, zucchini, figs,
Ooh,
beans, and avocado.
nice. I appreciate that most of the food that you all picked, we can grow right here. Okay? I mean, the pineapples, there's a few, the avocado. I can grow a good avocado tree. I ain't got no fruit from them. So this is all doable and workable for us. You have a fig tree? You have a story? Tell me. Oh, wonderful. Congratulations. That is the perfect way to do intergenerational legacy work. If you grow what your people fed you, what better way to get it done than honor your ancestors, love on your family, and help the environment? And then what I'm like personally tasking you to do is go to iTree Tools and see what the pollution mitigation is for your fig tree, okay? Because it's giving the fruit and it's helping the rest of us. And what else was I gonna say? I think that's everybody in the groups, right? Healthy foods. We know about air, soil, water pollution, and we feel comfortable with that. You understand how I did my research survey. My website is dalechambers.life, DAIL chambers.life. Okay. And if there's not any other final questions for me, I have some of these beautiful, healthy, resilient signs. If I run out and you all want these, you can always, there's a contact form on my website. But take these if you want them. I would love to give you all some. Well, of course, some people have no choice. Okay. And then the rest of you, if we run out, I'll meet you or mail you one. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you.